Hello guys and welcome to government class. Of course, today we're going to be looking at definition of government and also look at some basic concepts in government. Okay, so I'm going to look at definition, all right, and some basic concepts. Okay, we're not going to finish all of them because we do not want the video to be too large, okay, or to take too much time, because we discovered that it bores a lot of students. But well, even if it's too long, you can decide to watch it maybe 2 or 3 times, okay, so that you can be able to get all of the information we're trying to pass to you. All right, so do not forget that these tutorials, these episodes, are all brought to you by the O3 Schools application. All right, and if you have made a conscious decision to pass your exam at once, if your goal really is that I want to pass my JAMB exam or pass my WAEC exam at once, go to Play Store or App Store, download the WAEC app or the JAMB app, okay, and start preparing. Whatever exam you're preparing for, there's an application that's suited for it, okay? So please get the application and start preparing immediately. Okay, let us see a past question from the app as it pertains to some basic concepts in government. We're going to look at sovereignty. This question has to do with sovereignty. Okay, this is a 2013 question from the O3 Schools app, number 3. Okay, it says that the jury sovereignty is acquired through A says force, B says law, C says grant, D says treaty. Okay, so these and many more questions are what we're going to be looking at the end of the class and not before, because at O3 Schools we believe that we should give you value first. All right, so please do all you can to get the application. Okay, go and download it. That's everything, all the past questions you need for exam, lecture notes. Okay, you don't need any textbook. There's a classroom feature that has lecture notes, study plan, can create a timetable on the application and finish your syllabus on time. The JAMB syllabus is also on on the classroom feature. Okay, mock challenges every Saturday, and so on and so forth. Okay, check our testimonies and see how students blasted last year. Your case will not be different. Download the app now and start. Okay, start preparing. Start preparing immediately. Okay, and there's an activation fee to the application. Okay, there's a free mode. There's also the paid mode. Okay, the free mode allows you to answer only 1 year of past questions, so you can test the app out, all right, and see that this app can give me what I really want. All right, then of course you can decide to activate. Okay, activation is less than the price of rice and chicken in a good restaurant. Invest into your future, activate the app, and start immediately. You have no time to waste. Okay, so let us go. All right, if you want to activate your app, message this number on WhatsApp: 09121515246. Okay, all right, so just message the number and say I want to activate my app, or you can click on activate after downloading the app, and then the next page that opens, you see where they wrote buy activation key. Okay, click on the buy activation key, you see the options to activate. You can pay online and get your app automatically activated, or you can use transfer method. Okay, so definition, basic concept in government. Okay, and so now I'm going to look at, there are so many definitions, okay, as it pertains to several authors, okay, in this field. Okay, but we're going to majorly focus on on 3. Okay, so number 1 is definition of government as an institution of the state. Okay, then number 2, I'm going to look at government as a process or act of governing. Okay, and then lastly, I'm going to look at government as an academic field of study. Okay, so these are the 3 definitions that we're going to focus on in this class. Okay, like I said, there are so many more definitions, and remember that this is a JAMB and WAEC class. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with what you do not need. We're not going to be hitting the nail on the head, and then we're going to answer questions to build our confidence, and that is all. All right, so please ensure you are liking this video. For most of you that are watching this video for the first time, okay, you don't like this video, you don't like our videos. Okay, it's very, very wrong. Okay, like the video so that other students who are preparing for this exam can get access to this video. The more you like it, okay, the more this wherever you're watching, for whether YouTube or TikTok or Facebook, we recommend these videos to them. Okay, please help us succeed and help them succeed also. Also, subscribe to this channel. Follow our social media pages, okay? Facebook or TikTok. Follow us, all right? And you see God blessing you amazingly well. Okay, so number 1, government as an institution of the state. And in the whole of government, as we keep on discussing several topics in government, I'm going to be hearing about what state. Okay, and most times I see a lot of students confuse what this state what means. So I will break it down for you. Okay, so what is a state? I'm going to begin with government as an institution of the state. Okay, but before that, let us even see what is a state. So that I'll make this very, very easy for you, okay? A state is like a big community of people who live together, okay? Just see a state like a big community of people who live together in one place, all right? And in this community, okay, they follow the same rules, okay? In this community, they follow the same rules. Okay, and also apart from following the same rules, okay, they are controlled by one government. Okay, so that's what we call a state. Okay, a state is not like maybe a village. Okay, it's not like a city or a town. Okay, a state is like it's the whole country, a whole country that has its own leaders. Okay, that has its own government, that has its own rules. That's what we call a state. All right. So you don't say, Edo State, Benin City. Okay. For example, Nigeria is a state. Okay. You don't say Edo State is a state. Okay. We know there's a state in Nigeria. Okay. Right. But it has a governor that is answerable to, okay, to what? To the president, or that is answerable to what? To the government in the federal level. All right. So that's what a state, what it is. It's like a big community of people that follow the same rules and are controlled by one government. For example, like we said, Nigeria is a state. Nigeria is a state. It is a state. But why do you say Nigeria is a state? Nigeria is a state because there are people who live in Nigeria. Okay, so there are people who are called Nigerians that live in Nigeria. All right. So obviously you know that in Nigeria we have over 200 million population. Okay, so a state must have population. Nigeria has a population. People live in Nigeria, and there are over 200 million people. Okay, as at the last census that was done, okay, they say we're 200 million in Nigeria, but by now, okay, we're far, way more than that. Also, Nigeria has land. It has water. It also has airspace, okay, that belongs to it. Okay, airspace, that belongs to it. I don't know if you have the opportunity to travel before, okay, or you must have heard of maybe when Russia and Ukraine were fighting. You say, they'll say Ukraine will say no Russian person should no Russian airline, okay, or airplane should cross their airspace. That if they cross their airspace, they're going to shoot them down. Okay, so because of that, you can say that a country has its own airspace. Okay, so a state has its airspace. Nigeria has its own airspace. If you have traveled before and you are coming to Nigeria, you say okay, we are beginning to enter into Nigeria airspace, okay, or begin to descend, okay, into Nigeria. All right, how do they know? Because the Nigeria has its own defined airspace. Okay, it has its own defined boundary. Okay, so a state has its own defined boundary. Okay, so before you say somewhere is a state, it must have population. Okay, people must be living there, and also it must have its own land, its own water, and its own airspace. It must also have its own government. Okay, a state must also have its own government. Okay, for example, all right, there has to be there will be a president. Like in Nigeria, we have president. Okay, we have the governors. Okay, we have the lawmakers. Okay, like the House of Reps and the Senate. Okay, then also apart from this, also have judges. Okay, so Nigeria is is a state because it has a government, it has population, it has land, water, and airspace. It has government, and also it is free. It is free, FREE. Okay, no other country controls it. Okay, so for these reasons, okay, you say Nigeria is is a state. So these are what are the characteristics of it. These are the things you are supposed to see before you say somewhere is is a state. So Nigeria is is a state. Nigeria is is a state. Okay, so a state is like a big community of people that follow the same rules and are controlled by one government. Another way to see it is like a state is like maybe a family in a very big house. Okay, a family in a very big house will what will be living, okay, in what, in the land, okay, because the house is built on the land. Okay, so now I have there's a land, all right, and then apart from what this land, there are rules that have to be followed in the house, isn't it? If you're in your house, there are rules. That your parents are like the government. Your parents are what, like the government. They make the rules. Okay, they'll say don't do this, don't do that. Okay, so there are laws, there are rules in that house that will be followed. Okay, and then there's a government that controls them. Okay, which is what, the parent. Okay, so just view understand it once and for all. All right, that's what we call a state. Okay, there are things that you must see before you know that a state is a state. There must be population, people must be living in it. Okay, they must have a government, must have land, water, airspace, and also it must be free. Okay, it must be free. Free from colonialism. Okay, that for many years now, Nigeria has gained its independence. Okay, so Nigeria is is a state. Okay, so now let us now go to definitions of government. Okay, we're still going to encounter states. All right, we'll discuss state also soon. Okay, but I just want you to understand, because you'll be hearing state. Okay, so what thing this state even means? Okay, this state now like Edo State, I mean like Lagos State. Okay, so that is that for that. I hope you are very clear with that. So now let us now see government as an institution of the state. Okay, government as an institution of the state. So when it comes to government as an institution of the state, okay, as a definition of government, okay, you're trying to say that there are some group of people who lead, okay, and make sure that every other person, okay, follows the rules. Okay, so government is an institution of the state. Okay, there are people who lead also, and there are also what do you call them now? People that are expected to follow the rules, okay, that have been set by those people who are leading. It is like the brain and hands of the state. Brains and hands of the state. Okay, what it does that make sure that the state functions properly. Okay, it makes sure that the state functions properly. So when we say government is an institution of the state, okay, what we mean is that the state uses the government to do its work. Okay, the state, okay, uses the government to do its work. What kind of work? Okay, like making laws. Okay, like keeping peace. All right, all of these are that work. Okay, that the state is supposed to do. Okay, so the state uses the government to do its work, like making law, like keeping peace, like taking care of the people. Okay, taking care of the people. Okay, so these are all what the state uses the government to do. So government is an institution of the state. Government is defined, okay, as an institution of on the state. Okay, this is the first definition we're focusing on. Government as an institution of the state. Okay, so the state laws are formulated, they are expressed, okay, as when it pertains to government as an institution of the state. So we can define government as an institution of the state as a process through which the will of the state is formulated, okay, is expressed and realized. Okay, so government as an institution of the state can be defined as a process by which the will of the state is formulated. Okay, it is expressed and also realized. It is the machinery through which the society attempts to make and attain goals. Okay, attempts to make and attain goals. Okay, so that is the government as an institution of the state. Okay, the process by which the will of the state is formulated, it is expressed and realized. Okay, it is a machinery through which the society attempts to make and attain its own goals. Please note that it is the existence of the states okay, that gives what weight, okay, that gives rise to what? To government. It is the existence of the what? Of the state that gives birth to what? To government, okay? Okay, that means that what? Without the, what? This state, there will be no government. Okay, so we're not talking about this government if there's not what? If there's no what? A state. Okay, imagine there's no Nigeria. Okay, we're not talking about what government. We're talking about people who are leading us. No. Okay, so it is the existence of what? This state that gives right to what? To this government. Okay, that means that if this state is not what? Available, government will also what? Not be what? Available. Okay, so you must take note of what? Of that point. No state can exist without what? The government. No state can exist without what? The government. Okay, a condition where what? There's no what? Government in the state. Okay, it leads to what we call anarchy. Anarchy. Okay, that's what it leads to. All right, there will be chaos everywhere. There will be chaos everywhere because nobody is what? Is controlling anybody. Okay, everybody is a king, everybody is a prince, everybody is Oba. Okay, so it will lead to a condition of what? Of anarchy. Everybody knows it all right, so nobody is what? Leading anybody, nobody is controlling anybody. It leads to a state of what? Of chaos, a state of what? Of anarchy. So without what? The state, there will be no government. Okay, it is what? The state that gives birth to what? To government. So government what? Exists to what? To resolve what? Conflicts, okay, among what? Individuals, among what? Groups, among what? Organizations, okay, so that what? Everybody can what? Can coexist. Coexist what? Peacefully. All right, so that is what the government what is about. Okay, so this is what government as an institution of the state. Okay, we say can be defined, okay, as a process by which the will of the state is formulated, is expressed, and it is what? Realized. Okay, so it's a machinery, all right, that what uses what? The state, okay, that the state uses what? The government to make its own rules. Okay, for example, making laws, keeping peace, and what? Taking care of what? Of the people. It is the brain and hands. Okay, it explains what government as the brain and hands of what? Of the state. That is government as an institution of the state. Okay, so number 2, I want to look at government as a process or act of governing. Government as a process or act of governing. Okay, government as a process or what? Act of governing. Okay, so we're already seeing what governing there. So this makes it what? Even way more easier. So when we say government is a process, okay, or art of governing, okay, since there's already governing here, okay, it talks about what? Governance, okay, it talks about what? Ruling, all right, ruling, okay, it means what? The way the leaders, okay, rule, the way our leaders rule, apart from rule, take care of what? Of the people. Okay, so that's what known as what? Government as a process or art of governing. Okay, it explains what how what our leaders rule. Okay, how they rule us and how they take care of us. It explains all the things that government does to make sure that people what? Live in peace. Okay, to make sure that what? People are not what? Quarreling with each other. To make sure that the country runs well and people live peacefully. Okay, that's what government as a process or art of governing talks about. It talks about the act, ACT now, of ruling, okay, of what? Of directing, and also managing the affairs, okay, of a state or country. Okay, so that is what government as a process of art of governing what talks what about majorly. All right, it encapsulates what? How what we are ruled, okay, how we are directed by what? By our leaders, okay, in the country, okay, and how the affairs of the state or of a state or of that country is what is being what done. Okay, that is what government as a process or art of governing. It views government as an organized body vested with the ultimate power to rule over the affairs of the state. Government is saddled the responsibility, okay, of securing what? The state and managing the affairs also of what? Of the state in government as a process or art of governing. Government makes, okay, it makes, okay, it interprets, Okay, it makes and what and interpret laws, okay, in a bid to what to control the activities of what of individuals, okay, or groups, or curb the excesses, so people to do overdo, curb what the excesses, all right, of what of those what individuals or what or group. Okay, so that is what government as a process or art of governing talks about. Okay, so it majorly what talks about what how our leaders rule us. Okay, they rule, they direct, they manage the affairs of what of the state, or how the affairs of what of the state is being managed. Okay, so now lastly we talk about government as an academic field of study. Please, if you have not liked this video, like this video now. Like this video now, okay? All right. So government as an academic field of study. Okay, so this is the third definition of what? Of government. Government as an academic field of study is talking about, let me make it very easy for you, okay? It's not talking about how government is a subject in our schools, okay? To know better, okay, how what our leaders rule us, okay, how what government okay, rules over what the people, how the leaders make decisions, okay. This is what government as an academic field of study talks about. All right, so we're talking about what government as a subject, okay, in schools, where people learn about how people are governed and ruled, how leaders make decisions. Okay, so that is what government as an academic field of study. Just like in mathematics, we learn about numbers. Okay, when it comes to maths, okay, we learn about what numbers. Okay, if it's English, okay, we learn about what how to speak. Okay, but when it comes to what government now, what do we learn? Okay, how our leaders rule, okay, or how what a country works, okay, how what the decisions are made. That is what government is what teaches us. That's what government basically what teaches us. It teaches us how what our country works, okay. It teaches us how our country works. Okay, so this is a simple way to understand what government as an academic field of study. Learning about how our country is ruled, okay, how our laws are made, and then the duties of what government and citizens alike. Okay, so that is government as an academic field of study. As a field of study, government examines many aspects of human condition. Okay, government examines many aspects of human conditions. Okay, you see notions like freedom, okay, or liberty. Okay, you see what collectivism. Okay, you see is for collective efforts. Okay, let's make the country better. Okay, you see freedom. Okay, you see justice. Okay, justices. Okay, how people interact with each other. All right, these are all what the notions. Okay, these are all the aspect of human conditions that is being checked. Okay, as an academic field of study for government. Government is a social science subject. Social science subject. Okay, it is taught in schools, okay, and and colleges. And if you go to the university, okay, you want to study government, okay, you will not. So it's no longer called government when you get to the university. Okay, it's a field that's called what? Political science. Okay, so or pol for short, it says pol science, and then they call them. All right, so that is what political science. All right, so in our schools, okay, government is taught in our schools, taught in our colleges. All right, but in higher institution, okay, it has another grand name called political science. The study of government embraces international relations. Okay, embraces international relations. Okay, it's embraces public administration also. Public administration. Public administration is also embracing local government administration, all right, and so many other areas. Okay, so this is where I want to stop as pertain to what definition of government. Okay, I've seen three definition: government as an institution of the state, government as a process or art of governing, government as an academic field of study. Please ensure you take note of all of them. Okay, questions are being asked, okay, about this. in JAMB and what and in WAEC, most especially WAEC. Okay, for JAMB, all right, they seldomly ask about this. Okay, but they ask it in the more, you see questions that we're going to see at the end of the class. Okay, they ask it in a way that is more sensible. Okay, they not just throw it at you like that, but if you understand it perfectly well, there's no way they can confuse you. All right, so now let us go to basic concepts of what of government. Basic concept of government. We're going to begin with power. Power. All right, P-O-W-E-R. Please, if you have not liked this video, please like this video now. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. All right, share our links to your friends and loved ones. Okay, let them come and learn about government. All right, so now let us now see basic concept. Okay, number one, we're going to look at power. So now, what is power? Okay, so power can be defined as the ability to compel obedience on others. Okay, when you say that somebody has power, okay, not like, okay, we have this type of power, called physical power. Okay, when you know that somebody can beat you. Okay, if you talk, you got listening. Okay, so power is the ability to compel, right? Ability for those writing to compel obedience on others. Okay, so that is what we call what power, the ability to compel obedience on human beings, okay, on others, e.g. forcing someone to do what ordinarily the person will not want to do. Okay, it's just like you say, I should break my eyeglass now. Okay, all right, you just come to me, say I should break my eyeglass. I don't understand. I don't know who you be, but when you tear me one dirty slap, okay, I mean, think about it. All right. So the ability to compel obedience on others, to make people do what ordinarily they do not want to do. Okay, that is what power. And there are different types of powers. Okay, I'm going to look at them. Number one, we have one called political power. Political power. Okay, obviously, you know that what this one is the constitution that what that backs them. Okay, those that have political power, like our governors, our lawmakers, okay, all of them, okay, they are backed by what by the constitution. It's constitution that gives them what power. That majorly our three organs of government: the executive, the legislature, the judiciary. All right, they are backed by what by the constitution. So they have what's called what political power. Those in the position of authority, and it is the constitution that empowers what. Then those that would hold what this type of power. All right, so that is what political power. It resides in the three organs of government. All right, and of course it is backed, okay, by what, by or empowered by what, by the constitution. Okay, so now apart from political power, number two, we have one we call economic power. Economic power is another type of power. The use of economic resources. Okay, the use of economic resources, okay, to control the behaviors of others is what we call economic power. Okay, for example, maybe it is a large deposit of minerals. Okay, for maybe there's oil. All right, oil. It could be maybe land. Okay, fertile land for agriculture, or large scale agriculture. All these are they are economic resources. All right, so they can be used to control the behaviors of others. Okay, apart from economic power, we also have military power. Military power. All right, number three, military power. You must have heard, okay, that if soldiers slap you, or let me know you slap, they say they should make this idea that police will all gone and soldier or army person will hang in cloth. Okay, you will fear the army uniform with their hand than police will all gone. Okay, they say this is why they said that. Okay, because they have the power of the gun. Okay, apart from military, no, I talk about military. Yeah, so also characterize what the police has among them. Okay, they use the power of the gun to control the behaviors of others. There's another that say, do not argue with a man that wields a gun. Somebody that's holding gun, you're arguing with him. Okay, he may just deal with. It may just one bullet, you are gone. So you do not argue people that hold gun. All right. So that is that for that. All right. So political power, economic power, military power. Also, number four, we have the one we call physical or naked power. Physical or naked power. Okay, some people have what this strength. They have this physical power. Okay, they can control how you behave. It entails the application of physical power or strength, okay, to control the behaviors of others. Some people that are naturally stronger than you, they can beat you, waiting no good. Okay, so when they talk, you listen to them. All right, that is what physical or naked power. Then also we have another one called charismatic power. Charismatic power. Some people when they speak to you, okay, when they talk to you, you just have to listen. Okay, maybe there's something about them. Maybe because you respect them, okay? It may not even be respect. Maybe because they just have a way of talking to you. So you just have to listen, all right? So they'll say, there's sometimes they'll say, so and so person is very stubborn, okay? They'll say, no, send so and so person to go and talk to him, okay? Because you know that person knows exactly what to say to the person, okay? Just like Barack Obama, okay, even far before his election, he had that charm on people. He knows how to talk to people, all right? So he has this charismatic charm. Some people, it is their beauty. Some people are just so beautiful. Some people, they have a very beautiful soul. Okay, when they talk to you, your heart will just melt. You don't get choice. Okay, all right. When they speak, you just have to listen. Okay, so that is what charismatic power. They have a special gift. Okay, they have special gift for talking to people. All right, so that is what another type of power that we call charismatic power. So we have political power, we have economic power, military power, physical or naked power. You have charismatic power. Please make sure you take note of all of them. Now let us talk about what rights. 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 Please like the video, subscribe, and share. Okay, let's talk about rights. Okay, so number 2, another basic concept, okay? Rights. Okay, let's see how you type. All right, so what is rights? Okay, so say rights they are legal, okay? Say rights are legal, they are social, and what? Ethical principles of freedom, or what's entitlements. Entitlement. Okay, so that's what we call rights. They are They are legal, social, and ethical principles of freedom and entitlement. You must have heard when somebody say, "This is my right," like lawyers. Okay, say, "Okay, I know my rights. I am a lawyer. I know my rights. I know what should be done, what should not be done. I know the rules. I know the laws." Okay, so you know your rights. Okay, even as a human being, okay, as an individual, like living in a state like Nigeria, okay, you know that you have the right to life. Okay, you have the right to to speech. Okay, you have the right to to association. Okay, you have the right to so many other things. Okay, but these are like the fundamental right that you have: right to life, right to speech, right to to association. Okay, so laws, they are legal, they are backed up. All of these rights, they are backed up by some legal system. Okay, that have been put in place. All right, rights, we say they are legal, they are social and ethical principles of freedom and and entitlement. Okay, they are fundamental normative rules, okay, about what is allowed of people. Okay, they are fundamental, they are normal rules, fundamental normative rules about what people should do, or what is owed to them. Okay, or what is owed to them. All right, they are fundamental normative rules about what is allowed of people, or what is owed to them, that is backed up by some kind of legal system. Legal system. Okay, could be some social convention. Okay, or maybe ethical theory. All right, so those are all what rights. Okay, we say they are legal, social, and ethical principles of freedom and entitlement. All right, they are fundamental normative rules. Okay, of what is allowed of people or what is what owed to them that is backed up by some legal system. Okay, by some social convention or ethical what theory, and they are very, very important in some disciplines or fields. Okay, like law and ethics. Okay, and also even in justice, okay, in the justice system and so on and so forth. Okay, so you must understand what that is. What is what we call what right, legal, social, and ethical principles of what freedom, okay, or what entitlement. All right, so next up we look at what legitimacy. Legitimacy. Okay, I hope you're having a nice time. If you have any question, please you ask them in the comment section. All right, like the video, subscribe, share. Okay, so number 3, talk about what? Legitimacy. All right, so what is legitimacy? Okay, legitimacy is derived from the Latin word known as what? Legitimus. Okay, it's derived from the Latin word known as what? Legitimus. Okay, this legitimus means in accordance, okay, with the law. All right, this is what legitimus means. Okay, it means it is legitimate in accordance with the law. All right, so that means legitimacy is talking about the general acceptance, of government rules, okay, and principles by the people. Okay, it is called what? The general acceptance. Legitimacy, okay, described as the general acceptance of government rules and principle by the people. Since it means what? Since it is with it is in accordance with what? With the laws of the land, okay, or with the laws of the state. Okay, so a legitimate government is the government that the people, okay, were the one that put them there. All right, they know them as what the rightful people want to lead them. All right, so that is what legitimacy, general acceptance of what? Of government rules and principle, okay, by the world, by the people. All right, so and the government is said to be legitimate, okay, when it is generally accepted by the world, by the people. That's why most time you hear that they will say that that democratic what government, okay, is adjudged to be the most what legitimate type of government, because it is the people that vote, okay, and put what those leaders there. All right, so that is what legitimacy, the general acceptance of government rules and principles by the people. Up next, we'll talk about what? Authority. Okay, so let's talk about authority, another what basic concept. All right, that's number 4 now. Number 4, authority. All right, so what is authority? Okay, we define authority as the legitimate and formal recognized right to rule. Okay, so just like when you give somebody authority, okay, like let's say we have voted for the president of this country, okay, to rule us. Okay, so we are the one that gave him what? The authority. We're the one that gave him, okay, the mandate. Okay, we believed in his what? In whatever he preached to us, and then we voted for him. He now has the authority to rule over us as the president. So it is what? It is legitimate. Okay, it is legitimate, and it is what? It is formal. All right, so that's what we call what? Authority, the legitimate and formal recognized right to rule is what we know as what? As authority. Okay, it is based on the general acceptance. Okay, authority is based on the general acceptance of the people. Okay, it is based on the general acceptance of the people. And please note that what? Power is transformed. Okay, you must note, this is an exam question, that power is transformed into authority via what? legitimacy. Okay, so power is transformed. Okay, when someone has power, all right, it is transformed into what? Authority via what? Legitimacy. Okay, so it's just like somebody that has political power now. Okay, was voted for. All right, so he has political power. That power is transformed into what? Authority, so it can rule. All right, it can make laws. Okay, on behalf of people, can make decisions on behalf of people. Okay, because he legitimately got it. All right, so power is transformed into authority via what we call what? Legitimacy. So now let's look at the types of authority that we have. All right, so I want to look at number one we call rational authority. Okay, basically we have rational authority. Rational authority. We have what we call traditional authority. We also have the charismatic authority. Okay, so those are the type of authority that have rational authority, traditional authority, and the charismatic authority. Okay, so let us begin with the rational. All right, so what does rational authority talk about? Rational authority is the authority that is derived from the laws of the state. Okay, rational authority is what? Authority we derive this one derived from the laws of what? Of the state. Okay, and which now makes what? The citizen of what? The citizens of that state to obey the law. Rational authority. Okay, it is the authority that is derived from the laws, okay, of what? Of the state, which now makes the citizens, okay, to obey the laws of that state. This authority gives the government the impetus, okay, to maintain law and orders in what? That was state. Okay, so that is what? Rational authority. Okay, it's derived from the laws of the state, makes the citizen to obey the law. Okay, and of course it gives the government the right, give the government the impetus to what? To make laws, okay, that what? Lead to what? To peace, okay, or that will defend, okay, the common man in that what? State. All right, so that is what? Rational authority. Then also we now have traditional. Okay, traditional authority. This type of authority is sourced, okay, or is gotten from what? From the traditions of the people. Okay, from traditions, okay, from customs, okay, or conventions, okay, of what? Of the people. All right, that is what? Traditional authority. All right, authority that is sourced, that is gotten from what? From traditions of the people, customs of the people, and conventions of what? Of the people. Then we have charismatic what? Authority. Okay, this one is what is exercised by people that have what? Special gifts. Special gifts. Okay, they have what? Skills. Okay, they have what? Talents. Okay, all of these. Okay, those are what? That is what we want to classify under what? Charismatic what? Authority. Right? It is wielded. Okay, it is sourced. Okay, from people that have special gifts, people that have what? Skills, people that have what? Talents. Okay, people that have what? Qualities. All right, that is what? Traditional what? Authority. All right, so please take note of what of that. All right, so we say authority is the legitimate and formal recognized right to rule. All right, and it is based on the general acceptance of the people. Okay, and we say that what? Power is what? Transformed into what? Authority via legitimacy. Okay, we said that. And we said we'll look at the types of power: rational, look at what? Traditional, and then we'll look at what? The charismatic what? Authority. Okay, types of authority rather: rational, traditional, and charismatic. Now let us look at differences between power and authority. Okay, somebody will say power and authority get difference, although they draw a lot of similarities. Okay, but of course there are what? Differences between what? Power and authority, and you should take note of that because they come out in your exam very well. All right, so we're looking at differences between power and authority. Okay, so the differences between power and authority. Number one, okay, authority is what? Legitimate. Is legitimate. Okay, we just saw that what? Authority is what? Is legitimate and formal recognized right to rule. Okay, so authority is what? Is legitimate, while some form of power, while some forms of power is illegitimate. Okay, so for example, now somebody that has physical power that can beat you or press you, okay, collect some properties from you, all right, someone that has raw naked power, okay, so that kind of power is not legitimate. Okay, so it can be abused, all right, so authority is what is legitimate, while what some forms of power is illegitimate. Number 2, power makes use of force. Power makes use of force. Okay, that is what coercion. Okay, coercion. All right. While what authority? While authority is based on what? On recognition. Authority is based on recognition and general acceptance by the people. All right, so that is what number 2. Power makes use of force. Okay, makes of what? Coercion. All right, While what authority is based on recognition and general acceptance by the people. So that's another what difference between what power and authority. Then number 3, power cannot be delegated. Power cannot be delegated. Okay, but authority can be delegated. Okay, but authority can be delegated. All right, so these are what the differences between power and authority. Note them, write them down, read them, understand them. All right, then also we'll now go to what? Sovereignty. Okay, so we are going to what? Sovereignty. Please ensure you like this video, subscribe and share. I think this is where I'm going to end. This is the 5th concept, okay, of what? Of government. Okay, we're looking at basic concept of government. All right, we'll look at power, authority, right, legitimacy. Okay, all right, so we're looking at sovereignty now. Sovereignty, number 5. All right, so what is sovereignty? Okay, sovereignty is a big word. Okay, it means the highest power or authority, okay, in the country, okay, that is what sovereignty. That is sovereignty, the highest power or authority in the country. It means that the country can make its own laws, okay, or make its own decisions without the external control of any other person. All right, so without any external influence, it can make it on its own. All right, it can make its own decision independently. All right, that is what we call sovereignty. So we define what sovereignty. We say sovereignty is the absolute power. Absolute, if you want to write, please write absolute power and supreme legal authority of a state to rule, not only to rule and make laws, okay, without any external control. All right, so that is what sovereignty. Sovereignty is the absolute power and supreme legal authority of a state to rule and make laws without any external control. Like Nigeria is what? It's a sovereign nation. All right, Nigeria can make its own laws. Nigeria can make its own decisions. Okay, a country like America now cannot come, or UK, okay, or United Kingdom that colonize the British that colonize cannot come and say, no, do like this, do like that. No, we leave. You don't leave us alone. Okay, so that is what sovereignty. So Nigeria is sovereign. All right, so it is the absolute power, the biggest, the highest power, the supreme legal authority of a state to rule and make laws without any external control. And take note that sovereignty is exercised by the government on behalf of the state. Take note. Okay, sovereignty, okay, is exercised by the government, okay, on behalf of the states. All right, sovereignty is exercised, okay, by what? By the government on behalf of what? of the state. Okay, and also the theory of what of sovereignty is associated with a French philosopher and thinker, okay, who lived from the year 1530 to 1596. Okay, the theory of sovereignty is associated with a French philosopher and thinker. All right, who lived from the year 1530 to 1596, known as what? Jean Bodin. Okay, Jean, this is J-O, okay, Jean Bodin. All right, so that is what the theory is. What it's associated with the French philosopher and thinker known as what? Jean Bodin. Although there were other theorists. Okay, for example, we have John Locke. Okay, we have what's it called? Jean-Jacques Rousseau. All right, okay, let me just list some of them here. We have John Locke. We have what? Thomas Hobbes. We have Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Okay, all right. All of these were also what are other theories. Okay, in government. All right. Professor Albert. All right. Professor Albert Van Dyke. Okay, and the likes. Okay, all of these were other theories in what that were associated with what? With sovereignty. You must take note of that. So you may be asking your exam, which of the following is not associated with the word with sovereignty? Okay, all right. So please ensure you note all of them down. John Locke is there, Thomas Hobbes is there, I listed Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Okay, Professor Albert Van Dyke. Okay, Professor Albert Van Dyke. This is D-I-C-E-Y. Okay, Jean Bodin. Okay, this one is the main theorist. All right, and then we'll have other theories. Also, we have John Austin. Okay, it's also among one of the theorists. All right, so please just note all of them. Okay, so now let us talk about types of sovereignty. Okay, so we have different types. I'm going to look at them quickly. Okay, I'm going to look at them very quickly. So please, for any reason you have not liked this video, you have not subscribed, all right, please, that thing you are doing is very wrong. All right, like the video, subscribe, share to your friends and loved ones. Okay, so the types of sovereignty that we have: number one, we have legal. Okay, we have political, we have de facto, we have de jure. Okay, we also have internal, we also have external. All right, so these are the types of what's it called? Of sovereignty that we have. All right, we have legal sovereignty, political sovereignty, de facto sovereignty, de jure sovereignty, internal sovereignty, and external sovereignty. So let's begin with the legal sovereignty. Okay, legal sovereignty is the law-making power of the state. Okay, legal sovereignty, law-making power of the state. Okay, that is what we call legal sovereignty. It means that the state can make its own laws. Okay, can make its own decisions. All right, that is what the legal that's what legal sovereignty, the law-making power of the state. All right, that is legal sovereignty. Please take note of legal sovereignty, law-making power of the state is called the legal sovereignty. Then we have political sovereignty. Okay, so political sovereignty is talking about the ability of the state to rule and govern itself. Okay, without any external control. All right, ability of the government. Okay, to rule and to rule over direct the affairs of the state without any external control. All right, that is what political sovereignty. Okay, the ability of the state to govern and rule. Okay, without any external control. Okay, it's what we call political sovereignty. It can govern itself. It can can rule. All right, without any interference. It can also be called popular sovereignty. Political can also be called popular sovereignty. Okay? Why is it called popular sovereignty? Because it also what resides what in the people and not only what the government officials alone, right? Because it is what the people there that gave the what that gave the political elites, okay, but the authority to what to rule over them, okay. So it also resides in the people and not only what the government officials what alone. All right, that is what political sovereignty, the ability of the state to rule and govern itself without any external influence or any external control. Then we have what de facto sovereignty. Okay, this de facto sovereignty, okay, is what is based on coercion. Okay, that is what use of force. Okay, so many people acquire what sovereignty, okay, via illegitimate means. Okay, through illegitimate what means. Okay, so because of that, all right, that refer to what de facto. That we call them what de facto. What we call that what de facto sovereignty. They acquire that sovereignty through the use of what of coercion, through the use of what of force, through the use of what illegitimate means. An example is what is the military junta. Military junta. Okay, so that is what an example of what of de facto what sovereignty. Military junta is when what the military officials take over what the government, okay, from the normal leaders. Okay, that's called what military junta. They acquired this via illegitimate means. The people gave the government, the leaders, okay, the normal leader, the authority, gave them the mandate to go and rule over them. When the military come, confiscate what that authority, okay, and now start what ruling. All right, so that is what military junta. All right, then also we have what de jure, okay, de jure what sovereignty. This type of sovereignty called de jure sovereignty is based on legitimacy. This one is based on legitimacy. Okay, the sovereignty is acquired via constitution, via the normal working way of what of acquiring what sovereignty or acquiring what authority. It is acquired through proper legal and constitutional way, okay, or means proper, legal, and constitutional means. Okay, so that's what we call what de jure de jure sovereignty. Then we have what internal what sovereignty. Okay, this one talk about the supreme power of the state to rule itself. Okay, that is what internal sovereignty, the supreme power of the state to rule itself, right? To rule what the people that are in the territory of what of the state. Okay, people that are in the confines of the state. Okay, the supreme power to rule over them, supreme power of the state to rule itself. That is known as what? As internal what? Sovereignty. Then we have what? External sovereignty. Okay, this one is the ultimate power of what? Of the state to what? To make laws, okay, and rule without any external control. The absolute power vested on the state. Okay, this one external is absolute power vested on the state, okay, to rule and make laws without external control. All right, so that is what we call what the external what sovereignty. Okay, please take note. We have legal, lawmaking power of the state. That means the state can make its own laws. Political sovereignty, ability of the state to govern and rule without external control. De facto, this one, force. Use of what? Force, based on coercion. Okay, power is acquired here through what? Illegitimate means. All right, for example, the military junta, as we saw, the jure is what? It's a legitimate type of what? Of sovereignty that's acquired through legal and constitutional means. Okay, then internal, supreme power of the state to what? To rule what itself, to rule the people what within the territory of what of the state, to rule people within the confines of what of the state. That is internal. Then external, the absolute power vested of the state to rule and make laws, okay, without any external control. Okay, so up next I'm going to be looking at location of sovereignty. All right, so please, if for any reason you have we're drawing close to the end of the class. All right. For any reason you have not downloaded the O3 Schools app, please do so now. Download it. Not only download, you will activate. Okay, so that you can get the full benefit. All right, of the application. Many questions, all the past questions are on the app. All right, everything you need. The classroom. You don't even need notes. You don't need textbooks because you have what's it called? That application. So we're looking at location of sovereignty. Now, by location of what of sovereignty, we mean the position of what of sovereignty. Okay, we mean what the position of sovereignty in a state. Okay, that's what we know as what the location of what of sovereignty. We mean the position. Okay, where does the power? Okay, who owns the power of what? Of sovereignty. Who owns the power of sovereignty? Who has the final say in making decisions and laws? Okay, that's what we mean by what? By location of sovereignty, the position of sovereignty in the state. Who really has the power? Who really has the power to rule the country? Okay, and most times we usually what make mistakes, right here in Nigeria, we usually forget that because we are running a democratic system, all right, and that means we, the people, are the one that will elect our leaders. Okay, it means that now we get power. Now we get the power of sovereignty. If we say we're not going to elect our leaders, okay, we say so and so person, okay, will not be elected, okay, then and we all agree unanimously. It's just that we will never agree unanimously. Some people that we don't bribe them, people will do that. But that is basically it. In democratic system, okay, the people, okay, are the people that hold the power of sovereignty. Okay, so we're going to be looking at sovereignty in a democratic system. Okay, so let me just say just know that we're talking about sovereignty in a democratic system. Okay, just like I said, in a democratic system, since the people are responsible for electing, responsible for choosing their leaders, okay, that means that the ones that hold the power of sovereignty. According to Abraham Lincoln, he defined democracy as the government of the people, okay, by the people and for the people. Okay, this was was brought by Abraham Lincoln. All right, so please take note of that. All right, so that means that the location of sovereignty in a democratic system of government, okay, is the people. All right, is the people. They are the one that ultimately decide who rules them. So they hold the power. They can put you there. They can remove you. Now then get the power. All right. So in a democratic system, all right, the people wield the power of of sovereignty. This is the same also as the presidential system. Okay, calling the presidential system. Okay, what about presidential system? Presidential system. Also, in the presidential system of government, all right, it is the people that vote. Okay, so what's it called? The power of sovereignty. Okay, also lies okay, in the people. So the people that wield the power of sovereignty in a democratic system, okay, they will also in the presidential system. Now, what about parliamentary system of government? Parliamentary system of government. In parliamentary system of government, there's something called a fusion of power. So fusion of power is highly obtainable in a parliamentary in a parliamentary system of government. This means that the members of the executive, okay, are also members of the legislature. Okay, so there's fusion of power. All right, so in the parliamentary system, there's fusion of power between the executive and the legislature. Therefore, sovereignty resides, okay, on the head of government of the parliament. All right, so sovereignty resides on the head of government of the parliament in a parliamentary system of government. Please take note, okay? Like I said, there's fusion of power between the executive and the legislature. But the sovereignty, okay? It resides on the head of government of the parliament, not on the people. This is because the head of government, okay, is the prime minister. Is the prime minister of what? Of the ruling party. Of the ruling party, okay? In the cabinet. In the cabinet, that is what? The what now? The executive. Okay, and also in the parliament. That is what? Legislature. All right? So the what? The head of government, okay, holds the power. He wields what? The power of what? Of sovereignty in a parliamentary system of government. In some cases, they could say that what? That sovereignty lies in the what? In the parliament, in this parliament, okay? Why would they say so? It is because what? This executive, okay? All right? They are answerable to what? To this parliament, okay? So the parliament what? Okay? Are ahead, okay, in terms of authority, and the cabinet, which are called what? The executives, okay? So in parliamentary system of government, the head of government, okay, of the parliament, all right, is the what? That is who holds or what wields the power of sovereignty, okay? The power of sovereignty resides in the head of government, okay, which is the ruling party, all right, in the cabinet, the executive, the parliament, that is the legislature. In some other cases, like we said, okay, we can say that the sovereignty lies on what? On the parliament, because the executive are answerable to the what? To the legislature, or what? To the what? To the parliament, okay? It's as simple as that. Please take note of that. For democratic people, presidential system, people, okay? Parliamentary, head of government. Now, let's look at sovereignty in a federal system, okay? I'll look at parliamentary system, all right? Please take notes down, all right? Let's look at what? Federal system, okay? So in federal system, they share power between what? The central government and what? And its component units, okay? In the federal system of government. Federal system, okay? In federal system of government, they share power, between the central government and its component unit, okay? It shares power, okay, between what? The central government and its what? Component units. In a federal state like Nigeria, okay, we have what? 3 tiers of government, okay? We have the federal, okay, we have what? The state government, then we have what? The local government, okay? So we are well aware of this, okay? So in a federal state, okay, like what? Like Nigeria, we have the federal government, we have what? The state government, we have what? Local government. And in the bid to avoid confusion in the discharge of their constitutional functions by the levels of government, the Constitution identifies 3 lists. Okay, to avoid confusion, okay, the Constitution identifies what? 3 lists. 3 lists that specify the areas of jurisdiction, areas of jurisdiction, okay, jurisdiction and functions, okay, for each of what? These tiers of what? Of government, okay? So in the federal state like Nigeria, like I said, all right, we have the federal, we have the state, we have what? Local government. We have 3 tiers, okay? And in a bid to avoid confusion, okay, so that what? Each of these tiers will not go and be what? Clash. There will not be what? Clashing of what? Of functionality, okay? According to what? To the Constitution, 3 type of lists are what have been identified, okay, to avoid what? This confusion, so that what? They can stick to their jurisdiction and what? And functions. Those 3 lists include one we call exclusive lists. Exclusive lists. We have what? The concurrent list. They also have what? The residual list, okay? So we have the exclusive list, we have the concurrent list, then we have what? The residual list. In the exclusive list, the federal government, okay, legislates only, okay? In the exclusive list, okay, the federal government legislates only, okay? Exclusive list. Exclusive list, okay? The federal government, okay, legislates only, okay? For example, areas of what? Of like defense. Okay, not your football defense, or not defense in your sport, okay? Areas of defense, okay? Generally guiding what? The state, okay? Defense, monetary policies, okay? Making what? Monetary policies, okay? Is also what? In the exclusive list, okay? It is handled by the federal government only. International relations, okay, all of these are under what? The exclusive what? List, okay? And some have some other what? Areas, all right? So majorly defense, monetary policies, international relations, they are what? For what? For the federal government to handle. They legislate what? Only, okay, when it comes to what? This exclusive list, okay? But they also have concurrent, and they'll have what? Residual list. In the concurrent list, both the federal and states, concurrent list. In this one, both federal and state legislate, okay? So for the concurrent list, both the federal and the state government, they legislate on it. But however, when there's a clash of interest, okay, when there is a clash of interest between the federal and the state government, okay, the federal government will supersede, okay, because they get upper hand, all right. So the word supersede in that kind of what case, okay. So in the concurrent list, the federal and state government, they legislate, but when there's a clash of interest, who legislates? The federal, okay, will now take charge. Areas like infrastructural development, okay, areas like education, okay, areas like agriculture, okay, etc. All right, are found in what? In this concurrent list. Then we now have what? The residual list. The residual list is mainly for the state, okay, it's mainly for the state, mainly residual, okay, for what? For the state, and especially the local government area, all right? So these ones are specifically what? For the state and local government. Items under what? This residual list are for the state and for the local government to handle. The items under this residual list, they are too insignificant, okay, for what? For the federal government to come and be wading in, all right? For example, building of markets, building of motor parks, okay? Those things don't concern federal government, okay? So there are things that the state and the local government can handle efficiently. So they find themselves in the residual list. Example, building of abattoirs where they slaughter animals, okay? Those ones, the building of motor parks or machine parks or keke park, okay, has nothing to do with the federal government, all right? So these are the three lists that are made to avoid confusion between the three tiers of government: the federal, the state, and the local government, okay? So in the federal system. So it is in a federal system, it is the constitution that specifies the functions, okay, of each of the tier, okay, of government. It is the constitution that specifies that function. It is written there in the constitution. Therefore, in a federal state, okay, the sovereignty lies or resides in the constitution. That's where I'm going to. Constitution. You must take note of this list of exclusive, concurrent, and residual list, all right? So in a federal system, okay, sovereignty resides in the constitution of the state. Please take note of that. All right. So that is that for that under the federal system. So let us now see sovereignty in the unitary system. Unitary system. Okay. So in unitary system, all powers reside in the central government. Okay. In the central government. Okay, that's where all power resides. So sovereignty also will reside in a single unit that is called the central government. Okay, so please take note of that. So in unitary system, all right, the sovereignty relies or resides, okay, on the central government. Now let us see sovereignty in a military junta. Military junta, okay, where military take what power from what? From the normal elected leaders. Okay, that's a military junta. Okay, so the highest policy making body in the military system, okay, is what? Is the ruling council. Is the ruling council. Okay, all right, that is the highest policy making body, okay, in a military system of government. For example, in Nigeria, during the military regime, okay, we have so many ruling councils. Okay, for example, we have what the Supreme Military Council, SMC. Okay, we have what we had ruling council like SMC. This one is in Nigeria during what during the military regime. Like we said, in military junta, okay, right, the highest policy making body is the ruling council. Okay, so we had what? SMC, okay, which means the Supreme Military Council. Okay, Supreme Military Council. Okay, this was one of the ruling councils then. Then also we have Armed Forces Ruling Council. Okay, AFRC, Armed Forces Ruling Council. All right, this was another ruling council during the military regime in Nigeria. Then also have Provisional Ruling Council. Provisional Ruling Council. This one is what? PRC. Okay, since the highest policy making body in military systems, ruling council. Okay, so these are the military councils, the ruling councils that were existent. Okay, during the military regime in Nigeria. The SMC, Supreme Military Council, AFRC, Armed Forces Ruling Council, then PRC, the Provisional Ruling Council. Therefore, this means that sovereignty relies, okay, or resides on what? On the ruling council in a military government. Okay, so in a military government, sovereignty resides in the what? In the ruling council. Please take note of all of that. It's very, very important. Now let us see sovereignty in what? In monarchy. Sovereignty, okay, all right, monarchical. Monarchy, okay. So we have two types of monarchy. We have constitutional monarchy, all right. We have constitutional monarchy, okay. We also have absolute monarchy. Okay, you know what monarchy is now, where a king or a queen is ruling the affairs, okay, or takes over the affairs of the state, okay, or is in charge of the affairs of the state. Okay, that's monarchy. All right, so we have two types of monarchy. You have constitutional monarchy, you have absolute monarchy. Constitutional monarchy, okay, is almost the same as what? As the parliamentary system. Okay, it's the same as the parliamentary system. All right, but in the absolute monarchy, okay, this and constitution, it is backed by constitution, but absolute, they are the only, in fact, they're the one ruling. They make all the decisions, they make all the rules. They are absolute monarchs. Okay, so now king now they rule for you, now queen now they rule for you. Okay, but constitution now, okay, you may have people, all right, who are making who write constitution, who are controlling the affairs of the monarch. Okay, but in this one, in absolute, completely the king or the queen. All right, so in constitutional monarchy, it's same as as parliamentary system, but in absolute monarchy, the monarch, that is the king or the queen, okay, holds the power of sovereignty. So you must take note of that. All right, so the power of sovereignty resides, okay, on the monarch in absolute monarchy. Now let us quickly look at limitation of sovereignty, and we'll be out of here. All right, limitations of sovereignty. All right, and then we'll answer questions. We leave. Okay, you see that these questions have become very easy, so answering them will be very easy for you too. All right, so let us look at limitations of sovereignty. Now, limitation of sovereignty. Okay, so even if a country or a state has sovereignty, there are some powers, okay, that will limit, okay, that power of sovereignty. Or there are some certain things that will limit the power of sovereignty. Those are what we call the limitation. So of sovereignty. For example, number one, the Constitution. Okay, so the Constitution was set rules. That is why the government, okay, or the president cannot stay in office forever. All right, so he must stay for some specific number of terms. Okay, so the Constitution can limit, okay, the sovereignty, all right? Can limit what sovereignty. Number 2, public opinion. It's another one. Public opinion, all right? So if the people do not, if a government is going in lane A, the people will strongly disagree with that direction they're going to. They prefer lane B. The government must listen. All right. So this can limit what sovereignty also. So public opinion can limit. So what the people want can limit what sovereignty, or can rather limit the power of sovereignty. Number 3, international laws. Okay, international laws and organizations. Okay, so despite we have our sovereignty, it does not mean we can be doing anyhow. Okay, for example, UN, United Nations, okay, they make rules, all right, that's because countries need to depend on each other. All right, they depend on each other for what? For growth, for success, for ideas, and so on. All right, so because of that, all right, there's some limitation to what? To your powers. Okay, so you cannot decide to go and attack another country, okay, and not get punishment. Okay, so there are some limits to what? To your power, okay, of what? Of sovereignty. Okay, like what? Being a member of what? Of an international organization like the United Nations. Okay, there are some rules that they make. Okay, punishments that are there when you attack another country. So this can also what? Limit what? Sovereignty. Then number 4, religion and morality. Okay, so you cannot go against what? The religions, the beliefs of what? Of people. Okay, so government must try and what? And find a balance. For example, where they say you don't want, there should not be Muslim ticket. Okay, there should not be this. All right, so it's as simple as ABC. Okay, so it has to be what? Shared. Okay, even between what? Power has to be shared, even between what? The religions has to be shared within what? The languages or the tribes, okay, in what? In a particular country. So that they can be what? They can be balanced. All right. So religion and what? And morality is another limitation to what? To sovereignty. Then we also have globalization and interdependence. Globalization and interdependence. Okay, so the world is going global. The world is global now. So it's not as if it's going global. It's global now. So we depend on what? On each other for a lot of things. Okay, so you cannot decide to act anyhow. All right. So this can limit also your sovereignty. Then also the rule of law. The rule of law. Okay, even the government. Okay, needs to obey what laws. You cannot act above it. Okay, you need to obey the laws, okay, that you have set. You cannot act above what the laws. All right, that is what the rule of law. It can also limit what? Sovereignty. Then we have internal pressure. Internal pressure like protests. So the government may have made a decision, okay, but because of protest, serious heavy protest, okay, the government can go against their own decision. So internal pressure can limit what? What's it called? Sovereignty. All right, so now this is where I'm going to end for today. The next class will continue on what's it called? On the concepts, okay, of what? Of government. Okay, we'll continue on them. Now, let us look at the questions we have. I'll just answer a few, you answer the rest because they become very easy. You go to the app, go to question search feature, okay, go to the O3 Schools JAMB app or the WAEC app, go to question search feature, then search for any keyword, search for power, search for sovereignty, search for authority, search for all the questions that are come out on that day. Answer all of them. Okay, they are very, very important. Now, 2013, number 3 here that we're looking at before. All right, it says that de jure sovereignty is acquired through, okay, we say de facto is what is force. De jure is legitimacy. So A say force, B say law, C say grant, D say treaty. The answer there will be law, okay, because we said in de jure, okay, it is acquired through what? Legitimacy, okay, through what? Constitution backed by law. It's a proper way, okay, of what? Of acquiring what? Legitimacy, all right, or sovereignty. So correct answer there will be what? Will be law, okay, cannot be force. Force is de facto, okay. Grant cannot be grant. It's not treaty either. All right, so let's look at 1995, number 1. All right, it says that the concept of sovereignty can best be defined as the state of being supreme in authority, which seems to be the correct answer. B say power of the executive government, of the executive president. No. C say supremacy of the legislature. No. D say the supremacy of the executive. No. All right. Correct answer there was state of being supreme in authority. We said that. All right. Now let's see. Okay, this one I can't see the here. All right, I can't see the here. So that's 1998 number 1998 number 6. It says that in a democracy, ultimate authority resides in the essay. In fact, without looking at the option, what's the answer? It's people in democracy. All right, ultimate what authority or sovereignty resides in the people. Correct answer is option B. A say electorate, B say people, C say head of state, D say armed forces. Correct answer is option B, which is the people. Now, 1995 number 20. Number 20 says, on what is charismatic authority based? A say inherited wealth and power. B say tyrannical tendencies. C say institutional processes. D say personal ability and influence. Skills, qualities, personal ability, influence is what charismatic what authority is based on. All right. So correct answer what option D. We looked at them in the class. Okay. The last one before you go to the app and search for question by yourself. Okay. 2019. Number 2, it says that type of sovereignty that thrives on legitimacy, okay, that thrives on legitimacy is, let's say, external sovereignty. B say vested on any form of government. C say legal sovereignty. D say within the people's mandate. The type of sovereignty that thrives on legitimacy is the one that is what? Within the people's mandate, okay? People that carried you and say, take this power, lead us. Okay, that is the one, all right, that thrives on legitimacy, all right. So correct answer what option? What option D? All right. Now you go to the app, search for these questions, answer them. Tell me the answers in the comment section. Make sure you do this assignment. Okay. Go to the app, click on question search. Question search. Okay. Then select government as subject. Okay, after I select government, then what? Just type any keyword. We'll look at a lot of things today. You can type sovereignty, many questions on sovereignty will come out. Type authority, many questions on authority will come out. Power, the same thing. Okay, legitimacy, and so on and so forth. You see many questions. All right, look for 1994. Number 2, 1994 number 2. Look for 2001 number 13. Look for 2001 number 1. Look for 2024 number 5. Look for 2020 number 8. Look for 1998 number 1. Okay, those are your assignment. Please look for them, answer them, tell me the answers in the comment section. Okay, in the next class we'll continue our study on the basic concept of government. All right, I'd like to see you there. All right, thank you for joining us.